Hello everyone and welcome back to Beyond the Veil background information. We're doing an Angels and Demons profile again today, so we're going to be doing a demon profile again, and as I said before, we're sticking with the Dukes of Hell at the moment, and it is listed in the Asgotier and then then I'll do the same amount in Angels. So let's get into it. As always, I do a quote from a story where they're mentioned. Then I'll give you the background information regarding it, and then I'll go on and give you the character profile in my stories. So, Amdusias. Oh, I don't have any children, sweetie. That's why we haven't met before. But my whole job is to create the cacophony of your nuptials. So tell me, I'm quite in a dubstep trap. Had you imagined trap at your wedding? Quote from Duchess of Hell. Amongst the bizarre plethora of demons in the Lesser Key of Solomon, aka the Asgardia, Amdusias is one of the more unusual ones, with more distinctive powers. Although most of the 72 summoned demons often tend to hold the same kind of powers of revealing the truth and looking towards the future, Amdusias is just a little more unique. Dubbed the Duke of Hell, holding command over 29 legions, and is listed as a great and terrible duke. Sadly, I could not find any etymology over the name, but there are variant spellings including Amdusias, Amdusias, and Amdusias. He is ruled over by the angel Eliel in Kabbalistic lore, and he has one of the oddest descriptions and pictures in the Infernal Dictionary. Generally nicknamed the unicorn-headed, Amdusias is said to first appear in the innocent form of a unicorn, which in most religious imagery is a reference to Christ, and then will steadily change into a unicorn head upon a human body with claws instead of hands and feet, accompanied by a cacophony of trumpets and thunder at the transformation. Apparently, at the request of the summoner, he can retain a human appearance, but the rather stunning etching with the gigantic equine head in the dictionary certainly has a sort of feel to it. But not only is he unique for this, but Amdusias is a demon with power over music and thunder, and curiously can make trees bend to his will. But the music thing is what's so interesting with Amdusias. He is said to be the creator of the cacophony heard in hell, and will perform concerts at will to those who summon him. But there is thought there might be something more malevolent in this, as the instruments are always heard but never seen. I have one thought that he's the one that creates the kind of music that gets into your ear, whether you like it or not, and thus can drive you utterly mad of it. But aside from that, that's all there seems to be. All the same, it's clear to see that, like with several of the other demons listed in the Asgotia, there is room to expand, to create interesting beings, and as the Dukes are due to show up in our little story, Duchess of Hell. And Amdusias has a minor role, but is quite a fun monster in it. So name Amdusias, position Duke of Hell, story featured in Duchess of Hell, role unexpected friend. So gender fluid. Description often appears as a strange unicorn that looks like a sort of golden Akateke horse with a horn on its head and a white blaze down their face. It will then turn into a bizarre thin-looking man shape with claws instead of hands and a big horse's head that looks more like they're wearing one of those awful rubber horse head masks. They can also transform into a being half female and half male when they move fluidly. When they move, fluidly changes to suit whichever is preferred by the viewer. Is preferred to be viewed by their summoner. Realm Hell abilities, despite it seemingly being more benign than others, alongside the usual demonic shapeshifting and granting of wishes, Amdusias holds sway over sound and music, creating any kind of music at any time, and the rumbling of thunder. They do have power to make trees move for them, but at the same time their abilities to control music has a more psychological effect. They can create earworms and trendy music, and anyone in the music business has at one point communicated with them in one way or another. They held some power with radio and television, but the internet has been their favourite place to work, and they are behind the idea of music played backwards being satanic. So they're a lot more dangerous than might first be assumed. So Master Lucifer, personality, a little giddy and eager to show off, Amdusias can be seen as erratic and unpredictable, with this sort of Joker mania to them, because they seem to be looking for any chance to strike up the band. However, they are distinctly sinister and obedient to Lucifer, straightening up and showing servitude to rival Nurgle whenever called upon. They keep their promises and seem to have more ability over man's mind than would be at first assumed, and they are rather sadistic in enjoying the physical disquiet when it comes to people hearing annoying songs. Relations. Salius, Amdusias' best friend in heaven and hell. Salius being pacifist means that Amdusias can't tempt them with music to rage, and they love that, especially because Salius is more inclined to get up and create a dance move. The pair are rather chaotically fun together and often play charades and musical chairs, and Amdusias Salius. Salius, has no chosen partner, but is curious when Salius decides he will dip his toe in the parental role and is his comforting friend whenever needed. Oleander, Salius's child, and thus Amdusias' unofficial godchild. Their relationship is only small, but Amdusias leaves an impression, and he's very fond of the fact Oleander is actually more truthful than others they've met. Lucifer. Amdusias is loyal to Lucifer to the point they would gladly wipe themselves out of existence at Lucifer's whim, and always because Lucifer can read their music and reveal the truth of the cacophony. If everything makes Amdusias swoon. Amdusias, though, knows no music that can get into Lucifer's Akantar, and so will do everything to get a glimpse or maybe make something for Lucifer's pleasure alone. Nurgle. Amdusias has a slight crush on Nurgle because he hears everything and knows everything. Amdusias likes to hear a few of their horrible stories and weave them into the sounds to fill hell with the sordid lies and depravities of the damned to come. They also get a little flirtatious around Nurgle, but more in a sort of friends just joking kind of way. History. Amdusias was one of the choral angels in the heavenly choir, but from the beginning something in their creations were off. Where the others create harmony and symphony, they created a cacophony that almost undoes the harmony until the choral becomes stronger. They create the great boom of the thunder that makes everyone shrink, and the more they see others shrink and grimace at the sounds they produce, the more they make it. Everyone knows the Almighty does things for a purpose, but none in heaven could claim that Amdusias was not already a little cracked when the angels, particularly ill, tell them not to make any new sounds without approval. Amdusias feels shockingly dejected, and the only one they can trust is Salius and the other slightly off angel they know. The pair create interesting things together, distressful cries that summon others to weep or to care, fearful rules that make others check themselves, and the need for something that is deemed hideous to all of the heavenly host, the scream. It's a cry for help, not always a cry of pain, and yet it's enough that they both draw more ire and are sent to stay on earth for a time and not become involved in their usual duties. Bored, the pair explore the place and find themselves drawn to the birds and other animals that use sound, and Amdusias teaches some birds bizarre songs and arts of imitation, but they are soon watching Lucifer and the early humans and are intrigued. Following Lucifer, they witness the moment innocent first leaves, and the angels of death are awoken, which intrigues them because this means Lucifer is more tied to a greater destiny. And together the pair teach the other human-like beings to mourn and wail and mope, creating the grief to follow after a death. They follow Lucifer back into heaven, but have to remain outside with the angels of death before the war begins, and Amdusias uses their ability to create music from the desires of others to give Lucifer the clue on how to take down the guards. Amdusias knows that Salius will not fight, so does not fight physically himself, but uses sound with Salius's help to thunder down onto the other angels. The pair are doing well in harming the resolve of their fellows before Salius was taken down by Elio, and so Amdusias had to fight him. Amdusias, though, was struck by the divine lightning. His wings melted off, and howled in horror as he and Salius had been mutilated but still tried to fight. They fell, and like many others are cast from heaven into hell. Upon entering hell, Salius and Amdusias stand up and view the realm. Salius content that there is somewhere for them, and Amdusias in love with the horrible lack of silence, the roar of the fire, and the bleakness, and begins to immediately create trumpeting cries and clarion sounds to urge the other fallen up to reach Lucifer's side. They watch the kings gather together, and then when the next most faithful are summoned, they are bound up. They bound up to sit with Lucifer and the others, and are granted dukedoms besides one another. They take keen roles on the infernal council in Pandemonium, and Amdusias is often unhinged in his responses where Salius is measured, giving them an air of balance that is greatly appreciated. Under Lucifer's command, Amdusias creates many great and powerful musical aspects that are easy to use and used to corrupt, but also to enlighten and well. Amdusias loves doing whatever they can to make Lucifer happy, and as a joke, one night with Salius even invented the so-called brown note. But when Salius was looking gloomy for a lack of companionship and who was desperate, Amdusias made the note to Lucifer about one of Astaroth's prophecies about there being only one true Duchess of Hell, and thus gets approval that Salius can sire them. When Oleander meets Amdusias, they strike up a band and can't help but make it very clear they look forward to her wedding, whether Oleander is quite ready for this or not. So, final comments. There is something inherently wicked in the potential of this demon, and hopefully you might see that in Duchess of Hell. And I hope you found that interesting. Thank you.